your number one hype gal here, and welcome to the weekly warm-up, your weekly dose to feel a little more confident and a lot more human. I'm Jess McDowell, and each week I'll share life updates, mindset shifts, product faves, the little things that help me stay grounded, energized, and moving and grooving. Whether you're heading out for a jog, sipping your morning coffee, or just need a midweek pick-me-up, this is your warm-up for living a real balanced life. So take a breath, shake it out, and let's dive in. Welcome back to the weekly warm-up podcast. I am in a different environment. As you can see, yes, I am in my bed. If you are watching and just listen or not listening, well, if you're listening and not watching, yes, I am in my hometown bed in Vero Beach. And I felt like it was only appropriate to do this because when I come home, I love just chilling and relaxing and catching up on sleep. And today, just the perfect setting because I have someone on that I am so excited about, that I have known for, I think, since I moved to Miami. I met her through Mimi Yoga and we've worked together on so many different things. And she is just an inspiration. She has really transformed into her own self. And I've seen her grow, and her journey has really, really been something that is worth listening to and watching. So I'm going to introduce her. I'm going to let her tell her story. Kourt, officially welcome to the Weekly Warm Up Podcast.
Thank you. So nice to be here. I'm so happy to be here. My name is Kourt Pissarro, Kourt as well, but I am a full-time model. I am an influencer based in South Florida, but I work with global brands, all the things. As Jess said, I started my journey as a yoga teacher at Mimi Yoga and have just really transformed in the last 4 to 5 years.
No, you really have. And first of all, she's looking super fly. One thing about her is that her outfits, like it's not about, I don't think it's called no shame in the game. It's like she's so confident with everything that like she puts these outfits together and they look so good. I've never seen a girl wear like a blazer with a like cut off, I don't want to call that a sports bra, but like a bralette and like a hat and some lip like you do. You know what I mean? Like you really truly pull it off. That's your signature look.
Absolutely. A good crop top. We love a good crop top and like a good oversized blazer. Absolutely. And a little hat action.
Yeah.
Why not?
It's like sophistication, but like low key, I will like crush you, but I'm also going to be chill.
Yeah. I low key can crush you, but also I'm really nice and kind.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. All right. Well, then let's just dive in. We're going to break the ice a little bit before we go into, the serious stuff. I like to try not to do a whammy right away. But if you could describe the current season of your life in exactly 3 words, what would it be?
Yeah,
what would they be?
Absolutely. So transformative, heart opening, and expansive.
Ooh.
I think all 3 of those words really mark what the season of life is for me. We'll get into it later, but I did lose my dad about a year ago. So the transformative aspect is definitely since that life altering event, and how have I taken that event and not only just like, obviously it's painful, but allowed it to transform me and to continue to grow and opening my heart. I think that my dad's death really made me look at like, is your heart really open or is it still closed and you're still bitter and angry about certain things, Courtney? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the expansiveness is just, as you said, like continuing to grow, continuing to be confident in myself, continuing to believe in myself, leaving certain environments that were not for me, and just continuing to expand into the woman that I am and that God has intended for me to be.
Honestly, first of all, you couldn't have said that so perfect. The words I love, just the meaning behind them. But also I've noticed that truly, like I said, since I've known you and like just watched your journey, and of course with social media and things like that, because we obviously don't get to see each other often.
Yes.
And like I can really, really tell that you are in such a happy place with your career, with your life. You've blossomed. I love it. It's just so much fun to be part of that.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't lie to people. I had a lot of anger. I still do. I went to therapy a couple of days ago and I worked through anger.
We all do.
I'm angry about certain things that I've gone through in my life and certain people that have hurt me and betrayed me and all that stuff. But staying in that anger is not going to transform you. It's just not.
No.
It's going to keep you stagnant. It's going to keep you complacent. And you're the one suffering. They're really not, honestly.
Yeah. And I mean, good for you for taking accountability and talking about it. You know what I mean? And not just like, acting as if a pity party. When you aren't working, what is your
Yeah.
ultimate comfort uniform? The outfit that makes you feel instantly confident and cozy.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Biker shorts,
Mm-hmm.
a crop top or a sports bra, oversized blazer, gold
Yes.
bangles, a
Yes.
ring, and my
Yeah.
hat.
And your
Or my
sunglasses.
sunglasses. My sunglasses for sure. My oversized like tote bag.
Yeah.
My kitten heel boots. Like I feel like I
Yeah.
can take on the world.
Yes. Yes. I will say your sunglasses are sick.
Oh
Like
yeah.
how do you have a ton of pairs?
No, I really don't. That's the thing about me is like a lot of people probably think like my wardrobe is very curated. I
Yeah.
tend to stick to neutrals. I like accessories. But I don't have a lot. Like I
Yeah.
don't have a lot of sunglasses. I don't have a ton of handbags, but I just like to kind of like there's a certain uniform, sporty hot girl, streetwear style, and then we just accessorize. That's it.
No, I love it. And
Depending on
you're
the mood,
yeah, no, it's great. Your necklace. I
Oh
have been
yeah.
obsessed with your necklace since you started wearing it. It's so good on so many levels. Like, first of all, sometimes cross necklaces can be a little chuggy, or,
Yes.
I'm not always for them. I've worn many cross necklaces in my lifetime.
Yeah.
Is this something that do you want to dive into it? I don't know if it's something for later, but where did you get it? Why are you always wearing it? I'm absolutely obsessed with it. Is it one of a kind piece? Like,
Sure.
yeah.
Okay, so where is it from? It's from a designer in South Florida. Her name is Patty. I actually met her at the Sawgrass Mills Outlet Mall.
You
Okay,
meet
like she
people in the
had a
most
booth
random
there.
spots.
Yeah, she had a booth there, and I was like, I always. So let's take it back. Like I always have had a cross necklace, probably for the last 4 to 5 years. God is a huge part of my life. He is the center of my life. He brought me back to this transformation and gave me a renewal of life, to be honest. So I've always had a cross. This cross is probably my favorite
Yeah,
because it captures my personality. Like
absolutely.
I do. I have a big personality. I'm full of life. Like it's just who I am. Like I have all these different facets. As you get to know me on a deeper level, you'll see that there's not just like one layer to me. There's like 100 layers to me.
Hmm.
And I feel that it's just the Virgin Mary is like in the middle. So like Mary's in the middle. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. I gravitated towards it. I went there.
Yeah.
I saw her. I liked it. And she said, what color do you want? And I said, I don't know. I feel like green. I don't even wear a lot of green, to be honest, but I don't take it off. Like the chains have broken before I replace them, but I really don't switch it up.
I'm obsessed with
No,
it. Green's also one of my favorite colors, like the
I
emerald green,
know.
the hunter green. Yeah, it's so
Yeah.
good. And like, I don't know, every time I watch your videos, like I'm always captivated by it because I knew I had to ask just because it's so good. So
Yeah.
please don't ever take it off. We love it.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. So moving on, transitioning to a full-time model and influencer is pretty massive. Obviously, it's a leap of faith. It's not easy. What was the internal narrative you had to overcome to finally say, I'm going to do this full time?
Absolutely. So yeah, definitely not easy. I think a lot of us on the internet and a lot of models, like they just make it look glamorous and they make it
Hmm.
look easy. Like
Yeah.
let's just put that out there, folks. Like it's
Yeah.
not easy. So as many of you know, don't know, I worked in corporate fashion for 8 years. So I moved to New York City after college. I had this larger than life career at Macy's that most, women that are trying to get into fashion would have died for. Okay.
Okay.
Internally
Devil Wears
grateful for
Prada.
it. Yeah, Devil Wears Prada, literally. But I will say Macy's is definitely not like that.
No,
But
but
the industry is the industry.
Yeah. Yeah.
And listen, it's what most people would have dreamed of. And I'm internally grateful for it forever. And it taught me so much. And I built from an assistant to a senior manager.
Wow.
And then I moved to Florida and I stayed in the industry in smaller capacities for companies here. And I just got to a point where I was like, I'm continuously, especially when I think I moved to Florida, I'm continuously getting hired by these companies to help take their companies to a different level, help implement strategy, come up with all these things. And then you do all the work. And at the end of the day, none of it ever gets implemented.
Mm,
Okay. Like
yeah.
none of it, like maybe 5% of it. And you're like, so why am I continuously pouring in to
Hmm.
these different companies when
Investing
they're
your time and
hiring
energy.
me
Yeah.
for the strategy, for the creativity, for the whatever? I need to do this for myself. And that's when I did yoga teacher training. So I did my yoga teacher training at Mimi Yoga. And I was still in corporate at the same time. And I got done with that. And I remember telling Mimi, like, I'm going to be teaching. She gave me a class. And I told my therapist a couple weeks later, I'm quitting corporate America. And
I
that's where
have
it started.
that.
Yeah.
That's wild. That's
Yeah.
crazy. And I
Yeah.
also your class at Mimi was always one of my favorites. I love it.
Oh,
It's so
thank
good.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I
But
mean, listen, I definitely miss teaching yoga, but again, you just have to grow. And I felt like, the four walls of studios and gyms and country clubs and this was just kind of confining me.
yeah.
And I needed to really like break out and break free and continue to build my brand.
And you did, and you have, and that's
Yeah.
been amazing. And I think that it's so smart. And a lot of people in some, capacity, that's what they end up doing. They realize whatever, industry they're in or whatever position they're in,
Hmm.
that especially if they're larger than life and they have the drive, they do that. They realize that they're not getting paid what they should be and they're not being, respected the way they should
Correct.
be. And then they go and soar and do other things. You know what I mean? And it all works
Yeah, for
out.
sure. It does. And listen, I
So
always like another, I think, important piece of this puzzle is I always tell people I was making six figures at Macy's. I was making six figures at Macy's, even when I moved down here. And I left a six-figure career that I had always dreamed of with a big office to become a yoga teacher. And in the beginning, I was making $35 a week.
jeez, yeah. But that's the thing though. It's like
Yeah.
there's a reason. And like
Yeah.
so many people are doing it these days and it's unfortunate these corporate entities are just not making people feel fulfilled even when
Yeah.
it was like something that you were so passionate
Yeah.
about where it was like
Yeah.
eat, sleep and breathe and you loved it and it
Hmm.
was just something where they're just eating you alive. And I'll never understand that. I'll truly never understand why some, and not all corporate, because like there are some corporate,
Yeah.
yeah, that whatever, like let's
Sure.
we'll try to be politically correct, cool,
Yeah.
but at the same time, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just will never understand why these corporate businesses and jobs purposely want to eat people alive and make them
Hmm.
suffer and miserable, and here they
Yeah.
are being probably one of the best employees that you'll ever have, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah,
crazy.
no, it's definitely, and I think it's a common theme a lot of,
Yeah.
among a lot of people, at least in my mentorship towards others. It's just like,
Yeah,
again, do you have the courage to take the leap of faith and bet on yourself every single day? Do
exactly.
you?
Yeah.
And do you have the courage to sacrifice and suffer?
Hmm. No, I agree. And I can't tell you how many people, and women especially, because I've had a few males, and they've done the same thing actually. Dorian, he did the same thing,
Yeah, yeah,
like he was in
yeah,
corporate America doing
yeah.
his thing, crushing it with fashion,
Hmm.
and then he transitioned
Yeah.
as well. I find that it's interesting that a lot of people that I've had on the podcast have transitioned from some sort of corporate position
Hmm.
into fitness, which
Hmm.
obviously it makes sense. I have them on there, so it's not weird, but it's just that's usually the path, that it's not
Yeah.
like something else. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And I
So
think that, like, we could get into this later, but even in the wellness industry, there's things that, are not as they seem. Like,
yeah.
it is the way it is. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like, that can even become a little bit of like not a corporate vibe, but a little bit of like a controlled vibe too.
Exactly. Yeah. No, been there, done that.
I have lost over 100 and something pounds in the last, year and a half, two
You and
years.
everybody else in America.
Me and everybody else in
Like, let's
America.
call it as it is, guys. Shut
Let's call
up.
it as it is, guys. I know
Yeah.
exactly. Let's not.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest thing for me was I always talk about this. In my yoga classes, on my socials, it's a spirit, mind, body connection. Okay. It doesn't start with the body for me. It starts with what is your spiritual health like? Because then that's going to translate into what your mental and your mind is consuming and is trying to process and be. And then it's going to translate into your body. Okay.
Hmm.
So for me, I have a lot of trauma that I've been through. That's just the reality from childhood to adulthood. When I started teaching yoga, I was still in a very toxic relationship. And I don't talk about the toxic relationship very much because it's like, we don't want to give him attention. Okay.
No, not at
But it
all.
is what it is. It's a part of my story. And it was suffocating. Okay. So when I decided to break free of that and to really learn how to trust myself again, I would say that's when I really started to be like, okay, we need to get healthy again. Like, what do you want your body to look like? What do you want to feel like? Not what does he want you to look like and what does he want
Mm,
you to feel like, but what
wow.
do you want to look like and how do you want to feel? Because you are in control of you, not he is in control of you.
It's such a shame, but I mean, I've been in situations like that in relationships in the past. It's again not uncommon, but
Yeah.
for you to take control of it and realize, that it's time to, move on from the relationship, but also put yourself first. Like, not a lot of
Hmm.
women do that right away. It takes years and years and years, and some don't ever get out of that phase.
Correct.
So to be able to, acknowledge that, like, good for you, because it's a dark, dark place to be in.
Yeah, for sure. And it's, when you're being controlled and then you finally get the freedom to choose you and to choose what you want your life to look like and what you want your body to look like and what you want to say. It can be a hard thing, like you just said. Like sometimes you can doubt yourself and be like, oh, well, should I be looking this way or should I be saying that? Or, it's just the reality of coming out of something like that and then learning how to trust yourself again on a full
Yeah.
level.
A lot of people view weight loss purely through the lens of gym culture and then restriction. And now with obviously, weight loss drugs and injections,
Mhm.
which again, okay, guys, how did find
Everybody's on them,
yeah,
guys. Everybody's
it's
on them.
just so funny. Everyone gets so butthurt
Yeah,
about it, but it's
they do.
like,
They
okay.
do.
And also it's
Yeah,
been around for a long time. It's
it
just
really
it's just
has.
now getting its moment, just like everything
Yes.
else. You know what I mean?
Yes. And then there's like this culture of like, well, I lost the weight because I'm not on one, and you lost the weight because you're on one. And it's like, guys, it's not a competition. Like, it's just
Exactly.
not a
But and not even
competition.
that, but like you lost the weight because you did something that was probably similar to it.
Yes,
Like
exactly.
people you don't just lose weight by waking up and just working out. Like
Correct.
you are
You don't.
restricting yourself of something. How did finding yoga change your relationship with your body and your approach to losing weight?
Yeah. So yoga for me, first and foremost, is a spiritual practice. That's why my classes were always very like spiritual mixed with the
Mhm.
physical athletic aspect because I am a former athlete. But it's a spiritual practice. So I never really viewed yoga as like, oh, I'm going to start doing hot yoga because I want to lose weight. I got into yoga probably 7, 8 years ago at this point when I lived in Fort Lauderdale because I was at a loss for why I was feeling energetically all over the place all the time. My ADHD was out of control. I was in the controlling relationship at the time, and I had nowhere to go or nothing to do. And yoga became this sanctuary and safe place for me to try to balance my energy, have an hour with myself, and learn how to sit still and work through discomfort and be
Mhm.
patient. I am naturally not the most patient person. It's something that I've worked on for many, many years.
You and everybody
Um,
else. I can't
yeah,
be
I know.
I'm not
I'm not
patient.
patient. I'm like, I want it like to be now. I don't understand why we have to wait. Like,
Well,
what's
that's
going
also
on? Like,
society.
yeah, it is. It all plays into it. But yoga taught me the value of patience because good things take time. Instant gratification is just that. It's instant. It feels good when we go out and we buy the new Gucci bag or whatever. Listen, I like a new Gucci bag, but it's somewhat sometimes instant gratification. All
Yeah,
right. Like
no, it's
it
that
is. Like I'm
cortisol
having a
spike,
bad
it's that endorphin
day.
spike.
Yeah.
And then you go home and you worn it a couple times, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden you're looking at it like, I don't like it anymore. I want something. It's like the what's next. I
Correct.
call it,
The
you
what's
know what?
next? Yeah.
I call it like my dog. My dog is a what's next dog, and I blame my
Yeah.
mother for it because my mom has, like, when he like is with her, she has
Yeah.
turned him into a what's next. Like from the moment he wakes up until he goes to bed, it's, well, what's next? I got
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
treat. I got this. Well, what's next? And it's like, that's how people are. We're what's next people. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes, yes. We just
So
can't sit still. We can't
yeah,
sit in the present moment. We
yeah.
can't like just value what we have, what we've been given. Like I think there's a lot of validity in that. And I think being able to sit in discomfort is a very valuable skill. And yoga
Hmm.
will teach you that if you allow it to teach you that. Now listen, I've had people leave classes. I've had people that can't sit through shavasana because they simply do not know how to sit through discomfort.
Mm.
And I don't say that in a
Which
judgmental
is
way.
crazy
They
because
just
like
don't know how to sit in
that's like I
discomfort.
get the most excited because that's when I get to actually breathe and be
Yeah.
like, okay, I am done this hard ass heated class.
No, being silent and being still is a very hard thing.
Yeah.
It just is. So when you are asked the end of a class in Shavasana or at the beginning of the class to sit still with yourself, it can be triggering for people. It definitely
Yeah.
can. And I think that's the beauty of yoga, not triggering people, but allowing people to go deeper, like meeting them where they're at, but also
Hmm.
encouraging them. Like, what would be the next step in your own healing? Like, if
Yeah.
you were to think about it, don't think about what my journey is. My journey is my journey. And yes, there's inspirational parts, but what is your journey? And what is the next step for you in your own healing?
Yeah.
And how do
No.
you sit through it, be still, be patient, and be okay with being uncomfortable? I've been uncomfortable for the last 72 hours since my EMDR session. It's true. Things have come up that I don't want to deal with, that I don't want to work through. But if I don't work through them and I don't deal with them, they continue to sit in my present and they're going to affect my future.
Can we talk about MDR? Because one of my best
Yeah.
friends, Cami, I believe she does it. And also, like,
Okay.
sorry, mom, for calling you out. I do have to say this, like, my stomach dropped because she listens to this and she's going to be
Oh,
like,
okay.
how dare you?
How
Like,
dare
how dare you, like, put me in the middle of this? Sorry, I love you. I was just joking. Like, literally, we're talking about you and a dog. Like, okay, we love
Yeah,
you.
that's it. We love
But
you.
yeah, is it M as in man DR or N as in Nancy?
So EMDR. So M is in man.
EMDR. Okay, so I believe my best friend Cami, she's done it before, but can you break that down?
Okay.
Because I'm not familiar with it, but I do know
Sure.
that basically it really like opens up some levels of the onion basically
It
in the
does.
body.
Yes, it does. Let's say I think I started it maybe like 4 or 5 years ago, 4 years ago at this point. And in the beginning, like I was doing it every single week. Like I was, and a lot of therapists in EMDR will probably have you start with your childhood because at the end of the day, a lot of how we function as adults and it stems from our childhood. Like it just
Yeah,
does.
yeah,
Whether it was a positive experience, a negative experience, somewhere in between, it's the reality. So I mean, you focus on the whole point of EMDR is bilateral stimulation. So you're focusing on the memory that comes to your mind. And then your therapist probably will have you look at a list and it'll be like negative beliefs that are attached to that memory. And then on the other end, you're going to do a set that instead of the negative belief, you start to reinforce the positive belief. Like, what do you want to believe about yourself? So instead of like, I'm not safe, the positive belief is to be like, I can trust myself. I am safe again, whatever that may be. And then you'll work through like the memory and whatever comes up. You'll talk about, you might cry, you might get angry. Like it's a way of trauma therapy without sitting there and talking about the trauma for an hour every
yeah.
week.
And so when you made a mention about I don't know, I can't repeat it what you said, but it was
It's okay.
something about something stimulation. You're
Yeah,
not attached to
bilateral.
anything, right? This is all through
You
like
have
words.
buzzers.
Okay.
You have like buzzers in your hands, and then you'll
Okay.
like do the set. Like you'll start picturing the memory, and that your therapist will be doing speed adjustments. I don't know anything about like the speed adjustments and why they choose certain speeds on the bilateral stimulation, but yeah, you'll have those buzzers in your hand for the entire time. And there's something like I think that's kind of like transmitting to the nervous system and the
Yeah.
mind, and that's not where it ends. For the next like 48 hours to 72 hours, you'll continue to reprocess, and your brain will try
Yeah.
to be like separating like what was happening, what that event was, and then kind of like what's in your present, and like how do
Oh,
you separate like the past and what the present is.
I might want to try this, but I
Yeah.
just get whew,
It's intense. It
yeah,
really
but
is a
that's the
lot of
point.
work. That's the
Yeah.
work though. That's the point. People, I think I talked about this on my social media the other day, and like the amount of people that reach out to me were like, not even EMDR, but I've tried therapy and I stopped because it's hard. Folks, the purpose of therapy is it's not supposed to be easy.
Yeah. Like you're not going to
You
go
know
in
what
there and be
I
like cupcakes and roses. You're so
mean?
good and nothing's bad. And
No.
the whole point is you want to like feel like the trauma's coming out to get better.
Correct. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
want the trauma. Like I don't
No.
want to numb myself. You know what I mean?
No.
Like
And that's the
I
part of
don't
the
want
anger
to.
that you were talking about and things. You know what I
Correct.
mean? Like,
Correct. Yeah.
so you went from doing multiple sessions. So now, and
Mhm.
then as you go on, how long have you been doing this again?
I've probably been doing it for 4 years, but I haven't
Oh,
been in a
shit.
year. Like I
Okay.
went once when my dad passed, like a month after to process some of that. I mean, that can come later. That could come 3 years from now where I'm like, oh, I need to really like process my dad's death. You know what I mean? I think
Hmm.
I've processed it, but I don't know that I really like processed it.
Yeah.
And now I just go whenever I like need to check in.
Got it.
Like I've been having extreme anxiety for the last month. And I don't even think I understood how bad the anxiety was until I went and did the EMDR therapy. And like yesterday, I'm sitting here like, wow, I had really bad anxiety because I'm super
Yeah.
high functioning with my anxiety.
Yeah, exactly. And that also comes with all the things that you're having to juggle and do as
Correct.
well. You know what I mean? So it's like,
Yeah, there's no time
yeah,
sometimes to be like, oh, I can sit here with things. No, I have to keep going. You know what I mean? I have to keep filming. I have to keep showing up. I have to keep styling myself. I have to keep.
absolutely. For women listening who feel completely disconnected from her body right now and wants to start her own wellness journey, what is the most important first step she should take?
So I think a lot of people think that once you've lost the weight or once you've gained the confidence or once you've started to transform is when you should start taking your wellness journey serious. I think it's the opposite. I think that when you're still kind of like not quite there where you want to be with your weight or not quite where your confidence wants to be or you're not exactly where you want to be in life, like that's when the work starts. That's
Mm,
when you should be prioritizing how do I, again, it goes back to trusting. How do I trust myself that I can take these steps to build a better life internally and externally? Listen, I used to go to yoga classes and be the only plus size woman, one out of three plus size woman in a yoga class. Okay.
hmm.
When I started teaching, I was one out of whatever in Miami that were plus size. Not very common. It's not very common. And I think a lot
Yeah.
of people think that my journey started when I am now the size that I am, but my journey actually started as a plus size woman. My
Yeah.
journey as a yoga teacher, yoga student started as a plus size woman. My journey as a model started as a plus size woman. I was discovered by an activewear brand as plus size, as a size 16, probably. And my influencing journey started as a plus size model. So you have to start before you start to see the transformation. The work
Yeah.
is in that.
Yeah.
It's not after.
That's funny you say that because one of the guests that I have on that's currently out the podcast or the episode right now,
Yeah.
Sarah Segan, she's a physical
Okay.
therapist for
Okay.
Force Physical Therapy. And it's so
Okay.
funny about the what you said about starting before you feel like you don't need
Mhm.
it or that you're well. And she talks about the same thing with physical therapy. Like, don't think you need physical therapy until you're injured. Like you do it
Correct.
to, for preventative. And same thing with Star. When I had Star on, she was talking about Pilates and how like Pilates was never made for these tiny little girls, you know what I mean? And how like
Yeah.
it's this whole thing about, this Pilates princess, and like yoga's kind
Yeah.
of
Sure.
gotten, you know what I mean? Like kind of gotten
Yeah.
into that as
Yeah.
well. Not that like
Yeah.
Pilates princess, but the sense of that, like
Yeah. It
a
has
certain,
so.
persona that
Yeah.
you have to look like, or the certain way you have, like, oh, if you're a plus size teacher, like you don't know what you're doing. And it's like, that's
Correct.
so far
Correct.
from the truth. You know what I mean?
Correct.
And
No, it
it's just like
is.
that
Like
judgment.
it is. It's judgment. And I was fortunate enough to like have a large community that
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there are people that came into my class and was like, oh, she's not fit to teach. Like, she doesn't know what she's doing. Like, she
Until you
couldn't do
had the
these
class and then they
moves
loved it.
until you had the move. Exactly. So I'm sure I got judged all the time. I'm sure of it. But at the end of the day, like, I think that's one thing that I really pride myself on in the wellness space when I was actively teaching is that my classes were extremely diverse.
Hmm.
Everything from whatever to whatever, an older demographic to a younger demographic to a
Yeah.
pro athlete demographic to a regular, like anybody and everybody could benefit from coming to one of my classes.
No.
And there was never any judgment. Like, I don't care if you have a set that matches. That's not what we should be focusing on. Is that
Yeah.
cute? Absolutely. But it's not the reason for wellness.
Yeah.
It takes away.
I agree. And anyone that would have been like different about you, I think would be more or less like they were not happy with themselves or they were intimidated by what's
Correct.
going on in their
Oh,
life
yeah.
because like
100%.
you brought the energy. You always made people feel welcome, comfortable, confident. I mean, yeah, it's all them at the end of the
Yeah, for
day.
sure. Absolutely. I know that when I used to talk about deep things in classes, I used to trigger people all the time. I
Hmm.
knew it. Like I knew it going into it, but it never stopped me from doing it because that's what people need to learn. Like that's comes to the discomfort.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
not a I was never a teacher that was going to keep you comfortable, like comfy.
So we're going to transition a little bit more to your father and kind of talk more or less about your relationship and how,
Mm.
everything kind of has happened and transitioned in the last year or so. First of all, that I so appreciate you being open to talking about this, because I know that this is very, special to you and near and dear to your heart. Grief obviously perhaps is the heaviest weight a person can carry. How did losing your father alter the trajectory of how you saw your life?
Course. So I always tell people my life changed overnight. When I lost my dad, my life changed. And for better and for worse, we could say, right? Like I always say, it's the biggest heartbreak of my life. But at the same time, it has also brought me so much joy, because I have a different viewpoint on life. I don't sweat the small stuff anymore. You can't sweat the small stuff. When you lose somebody that important to you, it just opens up your eyes to like what is important in your life. Where do you want to be? What do you want to do? And like, why are you stressing all the time about small stuff when your life
Yeah,
could literally change overnight? Like, nobody's life
literally.
is guaranteed. You know what I mean? My dad was on a 3+3.5, 4 year journey with cancer. So, like, did we see it coming? Sure. But he didn't die of cancer. I often tell people that too. He didn't die of cancer. He died of a brain bleed. So again, that's very unexpected, right? Like we
Hmm.
expected him to die from the cancer eventually, not from a brain bleed. So that just goes back to the point of like, you just never know what is next or what could come.
Yeah. No, definitely. You knew that it was happening and there was this time
Hmm.
that you had with each other. How does that kind of change your perspective of when it finally happens? I know you said that it wasn't because of the cancer, it was because of the brain bleed, but like each day, each month, each
Hmm.
year that goes
Hmm.
by, your body is able to eventually kind of get to a place where it's not that it doesn't, it's over it or it's grieved it. But did
Sure.
you find that you had grieved a little bit before you knew that it was going to happen?
That's an interesting question. Listen, my dad and I had a little bit of a challenging relationship during his cancer journey, too. So there was a period where we weren't necessarily really speaking
Yeah.
for different reasons. So I was a little out of the loop, maybe for like a year. So when we came back into communication, there was that communication lapse for probably about a year. And when we came back into communication, I was just trying to keep it regular. That's all. My whole position with my dad during the whole journey was to keep the conversations regular, not to focus on his illness, not to focus on the cancer, not to focus on the chemo, not to remind him of what he was going through on a daily basis. He knew what he was going through on a daily basis. And I just didn't want to like have a relationship with him in that way.
Hmm.
I mean, towards the end, he didn't really want me to know certain details. I didn't know his cancer was terminal until maybe 3 weeks before he passed. And we had been in communication for a while before that, but he
Yeah,
just
I
did
mean, you
not
were
want
definitely, because you were
me.
around him a lot more. I mean, I would see you guys hanging
Yeah.
out together and things like that. Wow,
Yeah.
wow. But I also think
He
that's
just didn't want me to know.
a male
Yeah.
kind of. I don't want
Yeah.
to. I don't know.
No,
I don't
yeah.
want to speak for men, but they feel like they have to be a little protective, and they also
Yeah.
have to feel strong for
100%.
themselves, which is
Hmm.
a big bummer on the side of men and feeling like they have to do that. That they
Yeah.
have to have that kind of guard up, but also too.
Correct.
I mean, he wasn't doing it to
No.
obviously hurt you.
No, he wasn't doing it to hurt me. My dad was always a very, traditional man in that way of like protection and providing and
Hmm.
all that stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, I didn't know that until probably a month before. And then he was in the hospital. He died in the hospital. So he was in the hospital, and again, he was having all these tests to see if the cancer had spread and stuff. And I would call him on a daily basis at that point. But even then, he didn't want to tell me. Oh
Yeah.
no, honey, everything's okay. Everything's good. Everything's great. No, not everything was good and great, but
Hmm.
he knew that I had a business. He couldn't like put that on me in a sense.
Yeah.
He just didn't want me sitting there every single day and being in more worrisome than I probably already was to some
Yeah.
extent.
And I mean, how strong of him in the sense, and I'm not to take it away from you,
Mhm.
but to
No,
do
yeah, for
that,
sure.
because I'm sure he was also processing the fact that his
100%.
days were limited. And
Hmm.
so I, I couldn't even, don't even know the headspace for that. But,
Yeah, for
w-
sure.
he's
Yeah, I
strong.
mean, for sure. And listen, there was plans to go home for Father's Day that year and stuff like that, but that didn't
Yeah.
happen. And that's something that I have to live with on a daily basis, but I also have to know that as hard as it might be, that just wasn't part of God's plan.
Hmm.
I don't think that I would have wanted to see my dad in the state that he was in towards
Yeah,
the end of his life anyways, honestly.
absolutely. Good. And then you always have the memory of him that you have. And
Correct.
that's appropriate and
Yeah.
that's good for you. You know what I mean? And I think
Yeah.
that he's looking, down on you in heaven thinking the same thing. You know what I mean? So, and you have
Exactly.
him with you. When you're
Yes.
going through these profound or the profound loss, obviously just getting out of bed can feel like a marathon, which I'm so
Mhm.
annoyed that I put that as a pun because like this is we're
So
talking about something so deep.
it's okay. It's true though.
Yeah. Did your yoga and wellness practices serve as a sanctuary for you during your darkest moments, or did you have to find a new way to cope?
Yeah. So listen, I think that yoga at the beginning actually served as like a community. So
Hmm.
instead of like me personally, I only took one day off and I was back to teaching the next day. It was
Hmm.
crazy. People literally were like, "Are you kidding me? Like, you're here?" And I was like, "Yeah, I mean," and it wasn't in a way to distract me, it was in a way of like, that was my safe space.
You don't want to be
So
sitting by
my
yourself.
community, yeah, my
Yeah.
community was my safe space. The hugs, the talking, the flowers, the whatever. It was just a way for me to feel like I wasn't alone. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So I would say that it served more in a community aspect than in my own practice aspect. Yeah, that's what I would say to that.
And I
Yeah, I'm
mean,
trying
good
to
for
think if there's
you.
anything else. Yeah,
Yeah.
I just
Because
literally, like you said, it's sometimes like, and it's still to this day. I always say, I just said to somebody recently, like, it's not grief in the big moments to me, it's grief in the small moments to me. Holidays don't really, like, sure, they affect me to some extent, but my dad wasn't
yeah.
necessarily like a holiday kind of man. It's in the small moments where you're like, I need to go buy a car. And my dad's the one that I would call to get advice on if this is a good price or what should I do? Should I get a
Yep.
used one? Should I get a new one? Like,
It's
that's where
always
I
like
start
that
to
or
get
like a
emotional.
song or some weird thing
Yes.
you're like walking or in the car. Like,
Yes.
yeah, it's always those that are
Yes.
I couldn't agree with you more. That are one more like 100% more impactful than like you said, like the holidays and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because they're coming every year and it's always the same.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Correct.
Like
Yes.
so.
Yes.
In what ways do
Absolutely.
you feel that you're honoring your father's memory as you continue to build this beautiful, expansive life for yourself?
Yeah, listen, the one my dad instilled a lot. I always say like I am my dad's daughter. Yeah, I think that's the saying. Like I am my dad's daughter. Like we are very similar. He was American Italian. I incorporated like the American. That's why I was talking with my hands. Like I'm
Mhm.
American Italian. We're very very similar.
Mhm.
So one of the things that he instilled in me the most was like hard work, the value of hard work. Like nothing can replace hard work. All right. Even if
Yep.
you had everything handed to you, you still have to work hard. And so I carry that with me every single day. Nothing has been handed to me. And I have to work hard every single day, whether or not I want to. It's really not a choice. I do a lot of things. My dad loved to take walks. So, like, sometimes I'll take walks and I'll just like play music that he loved, or I'll just think about memories of us together. I watch basketball games and like, I'm like, oh, I wish my dad was here to like watch the game to teach me a little bit, or like, let's talk about the stats. I don't know.
Yeah.
Things like that, every day. And it doesn't take away the pain, but it helps me just kind of cope with the reality of what it is. There's a lot of people, the people in my life now that allow me just to like talk about my dad. There's
Yeah.
certain people that will just let me talk about my dad, have no idea who he is. Honestly, a lot of the people that are close to me now haven't even met my dad.
Yeah.
Like, don't know who he is, but they'll just let me talk about him. They'll let me share stories, probably the same stories, ask random questions. And that means more to me than like anyone could ever imagine. Like, just holding the space.
I love that. No, that's so nice. And it's true. Yeah. Just holding the space and being able to
Yeah.
just kind of like talk about the memory of him, regardless if
Yeah.
you knew him or I knew him or anyone
Correct.
knew him. You know what I mean? Because
Ex-
you don't have to know a person to understand the relationship that you two had.
no.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Well, we're going to switch it up a bit now that we got through that. And I, again, thank you for you talking
Of
today about
course.
it because, I think that there will be quite a few people listening that will be able to relate to that and will help them a lot. And I think that there's always good reasons to talk about certain things like that, especially when it comes to like grieving and
Absolutely.
loss. As someone whose brand is deeply tied to personal transformation and spirituality, how did you maintain your authenticity while navigating the commercial side of being a model and influencer? I want to really dive into this sector.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, listen, there is a very commercial side to modeling, but especially influencing. I think in the modeling industry, it's a little less. I mean, it's still there, but it's a little less. In the influencing industry, it is widespread, right?
Hmm.
Like you have all these brands reaching out to you, you have all these brands wanting you to promote their products, and they're paying you, right? So, from a
Hmm.
business aspect, you're like, well, what am I supposed to do? Because I need to make money to sacrifice, to keep my business running, but I also need to keep true to myself and true to my audience, right?
Hmm.
Because people can see through what you're really not using, what you really don't care about. So
Yep.
it's a hard balance, but what I will say is that, like, I tend to stick to like athletic wear and eyewear, some supplements for sure. I'll get into supplements a little bit, but I don't go the 9 yards with supplements because yes, I use supplements, but I'm not going to be using everybody's supplements and promoting everybody's supplements
Yeah.
because that's just not true to who I am. The GLP-1 space is a tricky one too because some people will be like, well, you work with different providers all the time. And I'm like, yes, you have to understand that's purely a business decision. That's always a business decision because there's a lot of competition in the GLP-1 space. If X, Y, and Z company that produces the same compounded version as the other one can provide me more financial stability, I'm going to take X, Y, and Z. It just
Absolutely.
is the way it is.
Yeah. I've done that with like my peptides and
Yeah,
NAD and stuff. And it is what it
correct.
is. And I mean, just like how, I mean, the businesses that we run, if somebody wants to
Yeah,
go to somebody else because we're too
correct.
expensive or whatever, like
Yep,
it's the same thing. And I mean,
correct.
I'm not going to spend hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars on something that I could also get for
No,
half the price.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, listen, activewear is activewear, right? Are there some companies that make better activewear than others? Yes. But for the most part, I don't see a problem in competing activewear companies. You like the product, you don't. You be honest. Be honest with people too. Like if you like it, you like it. If you don't like it, you don't like it. And I
Yeah.
think that that's a certain thing with companies too is they have to be okay with you giving actual honest reviews.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Not just what they want. You know what I
If
mean?
I'm
They
getting
want a
paid, I'll do
script.
an honest
Yeah.
review, but if it's a
Correct.
gifted thing and I don't like it, then I just don't mention it. You know what I mean? Because I
Correct.
don't need to, and
Yeah.
like I don't want
No.
there's no drama like
No.
necessarily needing to be added. One
No.
question for you then is, so when
Yeah.
have you been paid for a pro? Because I tend to always try. I'm sure you always try as well. But like,
Mhm.
there are, I'm sure, situations that you have been in where you have agreed to a contract, agreed to paid contract,
Mhm.
and then realized that the product that you have started to use you liked, and maybe then realize, oh, this is not what I actually expected it to be. How have you, because I guess, navigated that, and how have you navigated that with your posting and then with like obviously your
Mhm.
contract with that client?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I've run into that like once in the GLP-1 space.
Okay.
And at the end of the day, I just had to make the business decision. And I said,
Hmm.
you know what I mean? Like, if you're not okay with X, Y, and Z, this company was not okay with me. I was promoting GLP-1s just with them. And then I promoted NAD plus with somebody else.
Completely
Well,
two different things.
completely two different products, right?
Like
I
not
understand.
night and day, night and
Night
day.
and day. Night and day.
Losing
You've
weight,
taken the
biohacking,
NAD. Yeah,
literally like
correct.
making more cells in your body, losing weight.
Completely different. Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So, the GLP-1 company was not pleased to see that I was promoting NAD with a different company, even though
Okay.
I'm not taking NAD with the GLP-1 company. Now, do they
Yeah.
offer it? Yes, but
So
I
does everybody
am
else.
not promoting it.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, you have to be okay with having those uncomfortable conversations of like, okay, I understand your viewpoint and how you feel, but like, this is my business.
Yeah.
And I'm taking NAD with another company because I don't take NAD. So it's something new for me to explore and give to my community and
Yeah.
audience. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
if you're not okay with it, let's end the contract. You have to understand that I always tell people at the beginning of it all, you are a businesswoman or a businessman. I don't care if you're an influencer or you're a model. And I think especially if we transfer into the modeling industry, a lot of models don't view themselves as business people. And I'm like,
Hmm.
you're getting it wrong. Like
Yeah.
you have to understand, you can have an agent, you can be signed, whatever, But if you don't know how to negotiate, especially you have to be able to negotiate with an agent too. Like an agent doesn't always know everything, right?
Well, and they're
You know
also
you
advocating for
best.
you. So you want to make sure
Correct.
that they're not advocating for you the right way and not just trying to
Correct.
get that cut and get you these,
Correct.
rinky dinky jobs.
Exactly. Like I mean, listen, I haven't been signed by an agency, so I don't know that, but I
Hmm.
can you have, and I'm sure that there's like you just said, you have
I'm
to
not
make sure
even,
they're
I'm no
advocating for
longer
you.
with them anymore. Actually, I
Okay,
am not
got
with
it.
an agency because I obviously with my like line of what I'm doing and with being
Yeah.
an endurance athlete and everything, like
Yeah.
I don't need an agency,
Sure.
like,
Sure.
but for modeling purposes, like I could totally see that. But at the
Yeah.
same time too, if
Mm,
you can also like
you
be
can do your own
independent
stuff.
and get
Correct.
just as many
You can.
jobs just because sometimes too like it weeds out having to deal with a middleman that sometimes makes it a lot
Correct.
more difficult. And it's not
Correct.
about like, and then some people are like, yeah, well, your agency protects you with like,
Mm,
SAG or
sure.
protects you with like, not being taken advantage of. And it's like, well, if you have good negotiation skills and you are talking to a brand and a company that's actually like not trying to take advantage of you,
Hmm.
then it tends to actually work out more that the agency is actually the one that's kind of making it the big deal, if that
Correct.
makes sense, you know?
No, it does. Yeah. Yeah. And you have to understand like a lot of agencies too, like, bigger agencies, even smaller agencies, they have a lot of people, right?
Hmm.
Like they have a lot of people on a
And
roster
they
and they
pick and
pick.
choose. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Like I
And
had
I had
a
that conversation multiple
yeah.
times.
Yeah. Like I had a
So
former employee who they are a lingerie brand, so they have models that, they fly to Colombia or whatever, and the owners were telling me recently that they were working with an agency and they wanted a specific model. They said, "We want X, Y, and Z." And the agency said, "Okay, but now we have this one for you." And she was like, "No, no, 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 no. Like, why are you trying to like give me somebody different? Like, you're not even advocating for the girl that they said they wanted."
yeah, that they
So
actually
yeah,
got you as a client.
correct,
Yeah,
correct,
no, I get it. Yeah.
correct.
That's why I would say like the only type of agency I would be down for, and I've thought about it, and it definitely will be in my 2027 plan is for like more of the influencing side. But I
Yeah,
don't know if I'd want to
yeah,
be on the influencing side or more of like the sports agency side with
sure,
things. And like
sure,
that would be with you. Like you would obviously get signed with an agency that replicates what you do. You know what I mean? And only
correct.
because like that does open doors for things
It
that
does.
are,
Yeah,
and that's it's actually more or less like that helps take a little bit of the workload off me.
yeah, yeah.
Because then you
Agree.
obviously have somebody helping you with like, more of the back end things. But
Yeah,
other than that, like yeah, you really got to be careful with agencies these days. I've like the horror stories are, unbelievable. So,
correct.
you know,
Correct. Even on the influencers side, when you're
oh
not
yeah,
signed to one and you're
yeah,
dealing with, I just had an instance of that too, where you're dealing
yeah,
with the brand, you're the agency through the brand, and the brand doesn't realize this happened, and the agency's not answering. That's what I mean. People don't get like the
yeah,
back end of this world.
yeah,
It's a very crazy world.
absolutely. So I have a social media intern and she helps
Okay,
me out
I
with
love
stuff.
that.
Yeah, and I love it.
Okay,
And I actually vetted her almost a year ago. I contacted University of Miami because
oh,
I
okay.
wasn't about to just put out, an
Hmm.
Indeed or whatever flyer. So I contacted the communication school because I figured, like let's get somebody that, is reputable, but also could potentially like, use this for their portfolio for their life and things like
Yeah,
that. And literally the first girl that applied to the job through University of Miami's job board, I ended up hiring, and
that's
I pay
amazing.
her hourly for like help with things and
Nice.
everything. And
Oh,
it's very, I will say it's been a big, big help because when I'm traveling or if there's a lot of
hmm.
stuff that's going on in my life that I have to get done, it's really nice to have somebody to be like, hey, like I need your help with this, or I need,
Hmm.
you to do this
Hmm.
for me. And it's really a nice like I guess way of being able to have like somebody you trust, teamwork, that they
Yeah.
know how you like your style with everything. They'll help
Hmm.
you on it, but then also
Hmm.
too, they're not obviously your full time, you know,
Yes.
I guess
Yes.
employee if you want to call it that. So like
No,
it's
I
nice.
love that. That is
Yeah,
nice. Yeah, I need to. I think that's like a next step for me. Yeah, some kind of like manager. So I can't manage it all. Like I'm tired.
exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like I'm tired.
yeah.
And I
No,
want
I
to
get
deal with
it.
like a lot. I want to start to get rid of some of the back end stuff because I,
Yeah,
I do think that that takes away from my energy for like from the front end stuff is where
yeah.
like, I'm the talent. I shouldn't be like, the financial person and the negotiator. and all of it.
Yeah.
But
Well, no, the financial aspect, that needs to be with an accountant eventually.
yeah, exactly. All of it.
Yeah. Girl, I know.
We
Yeah.
got a lot
Yeah.
to do here.
Yeah. Graduated a year early because she's a freaking loser and wants to like work in the, like, she actually now has a full-time job, but like does stuff with
Oh,
me
okay.
still. But like, yeah, this girl decided to graduate a year early. I'm like, I was a fifth year girl. What are you doing? Not
It's
at
a fifth
Miami,
year girl.
Alabama,
I know,
please.
I know,
But you
I know. Roll Tide, right? Roll Tide.
know.
Go Bulldogs. Just
Yeah.
kidding,
Yeah, I
Jess.
know I love you. It's okay. It's okay. You've navigated physical
Yeah.
transformation, deep grief, a career renovation. What is the next distance you are training or trying to take in the life or in your life?
Yeah, I think that for me, it's just like continuing to believe that I deserve the life that God has in front of me right now and will continue to bless me with.
Yeah.
Sometimes I can get in a mindset of like, well, I'm not deserving of this, or like, this couldn't be happening. This can't be real because of everything I went through. And that's falling victim. But this season, I just really want to focus on the joy, the happiness, and living in alignment with what I want, not what everybody else wants for me, not what society wants for me, but what Courtney Pissarro wants and what makes Courtney Pissarro happy, and just live that life, regardless of people's opinions or narratives or speculations or whatever. That's
Retweet,
it.
period. We don't even need to go any further. Love it. Here
That's
for
it.
it. Yeah. If you could go back to the version of Court at the beginning of this journey and give her one piece of advice for the long road ahead, what would it be?
I would tell her to trust herself in every single aspect. Trust that you had to go through the breakup. Trust that you had to, you had to leave corporate America. Trust
Mm-hmm.
that you had to struggle at the beginning of entrepreneur. Trust that you even had to lose your dad. There is purpose in every single loss, in a sense, or every single challenge, hardship, whatever you went through. There was purpose in it, and it's leading to a greater purpose that God has for you. And now it's time to really step into the purpose and enjoy the purpose and understand that you are worth it and you are deserving of it.
Yeah, absolutely. This season of the podcast and new series is all about women going the distance. When you look back at your journey and who you are now and where you started, what does going the distance mean to you personally?
The distance means to me not giving up, like endurance, right? The endurance to keep going, the endurance to take on the challenge, the endurance to take on the hardship, the endurance to make a move. And maybe the move didn't, pan out the way that you wanted it to. Like
Mm-hmm.
I always tell people, I moved to Florida not for career. I moved to Florida for my ex relationship. And listen, it didn't work out. It didn't work out the way that I wanted it to. It didn't work out the way I imagined it. But it doesn't mean that it wasn't part of going the distance. There was purpose. There was purpose in it. So again, I think going the distance is endurance, not giving up, overcoming, controlling the controllables. Like, honestly, what can you control going the distance? You can't control every single step. You can't control every outcome. You cannot. So that's a big one for me too lately, is control the controllables. I keep repeating that to myself on a daily basis.
I absolutely love that. I can't believe this has gone by so fast. Like, I don't want it
I
to
know.
end.
I
You
know.
have just been such like an amazing person to speak to because I
Thank you.
just love your advice and I love where you're coming from with everything. And I could continue on for hours. So you're a rock star for sure. Like, I love this so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna play a game. It's kind of like a
Okay.
this or that type vibe. So it's
Oh, okay.
yeah. And then like I'll ask you a couple questions, whatever. So of course, I had to write some of these down, and it's funny because we talked about it at the beginning of episode. So your boots or your sunglasses?
My gosh.
Yeah.
My boots, my boots. I love my boots. They
Damn.
like really put me into like
Yeah,
my like badass Courtney vibes.
I'm here for it. All right, your blazers or your bangles?
Oh, my blazers.
Yeah, I figured that was an easy one, but I was like, I don't know,
Yeah.
maybe not.
Yeah.
Yeah, your nails or your hair?
Oh, my nails,
Yep.
100%. My nails, the
Yeah,
claws,
yeah,
they're
yeah.
always out.
Yeah. A really good, like the bralette, this cropped top,
Mhm.
or your good pair of like the leggings, biker shorts vibe.
My crop top.
Yeah. Absolutely. Modeling or influencing?
It's a tough one. I'm gonna go with modeling. Like, I really love making art in on like in how do I say that? Like, I really like bringing a vision to life on camera, and
Cool.
you can do that in influencing too. But I like modeling.
There's nothing wrong with that. A
Okay.
trend right now that you cannot stand.
Let's see. Matcha. I can't stand matcha. Honestly, I try to get on board with matcha all the time. I
Yeah.
go to like all these places that the girlies like recommend on Instagram and TikTok, and I'm just like, I'm paying like
Always let
nine
down.
dollars for it to taste like fucking grass. Honestly, it's not good. I just don't
Yeah.
like it. I don't get
No,
it.
I love it. A day date or a night date?
Hmm. A night date. Something about like the nighttime, like yeah, just like
Yeah.
night vibes.
Are you dating right now?
Ooh, there is somebody special in my life, but yeah,
Okay. That's it?
that's
Cool.
that's all
Well,
for today, folks.
that's that was the last question anyway. So,
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't talk a lot about my dating life, but there is
yeah.
somebody in my life that
That's good. And that's all you need to say. That's the one thing about life is like you can share as much as you want and you can share as less as you want and you don't always have to. I think that dating and relationship stuff like that should be, you know, personal.
yeah.
Like it's not
Yeah,
for the world to
correct. It's
decide
not.
how it is.
No, it's not. And I think that, being in the limelight and being on the internet, like
The
it just makes things
limelight.
the limelight, the internet, all that stuff. It makes, it's like one part of my life that I still kind of have, control over in a sense of what I want to share and what I don't want to share.
Yeah,
You know, that's it.
exactly. It's a highlight reel. Let's be real. At the end of the day, it's a
It's a
highlight
highlight reel.
reel.
It's a highlight reel. It
Like,
is.
yeah, we got 24 hours in a day and you're seeing about 1.5 hours, if probably about
Yeah.
25 minutes. Like, let's be
Yeah.
real. You know what I
25
mean?
minutes. You
Like,
didn't see the crash
yeah.
out earlier or
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Like I posted that I was on the beach with my dog this morning.
yes.
Like you have not
Yeah.
seen like the shit that I've been doing since, you know what I mean? Like it is
Yeah.
what, yeah, it's fine. But
Yeah.
well, Court, I
Yes.
again want to say thank you so much for being on the podcast. It has been a dream to have you on and long overdue, but I feel like this was probably the perfect timing for
Yeah,
everything.
absolutely.
And I think that you really captivate this series perfectly. So I just want to really say from the bottom of my heart, thank you. And that I love to love you and love to know you. And just can't wait to see where things go.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. So
Yeah.
much fun.
And that's that.